of that.
Yeah, I think this year, every year's got noise, right? But I think this year it's been so much different types of noise that we've had to deal with that, again, we've become, I think, a pretty good team when it comes to pushing that out and understanding that what's in front of us is all about us and, how we think, how we respond, the work we put in. And so, tomorrow morning, I already told the guys on Sunday, we got a hard reset. We go back to work and we understand our strengths, we understand our weaknesses, who we are as a team, and we just continue to get better. And so you're exactly right. That process and that weekly process, we need to keep refining individually and as a team what we're doing, evaluating now as we get in the season. What's our practice plan look like? Just the little tweaks, and you learn from the years and years and years of coaching, what that should look like, what worked, what didn't work. And then the players, what's the note-taking process look like? What's the rehab process recovery and all of that. And so there's so many pieces to it. And then the mental part that you're talking about, where what everyone says doesn't matter. There's still so much football to be played. We have big games, and none's bigger than the one right in front of us. So I think we'll be pretty locked in. Thank you.
There you have it. That was head coach Kalen DeBoer speaking to the media yesterday, doing his weekly press conference. Wanted to get that out the way. As you guys can see, if you're watching me on the stream, and I'm bundled up. I got a jacket. Had some HVAC issues over the last day or so. Finally got that fixed. So went ahead and rolled with that press conference. That way we get out the way. It is a Talking Tuesday, but we got plenty to talk about. So I wanted to get that rolling. And then we also still have the coordinators if we have time to do that. Plus, we got to talk with you guys. And judging by the thumbnail, you can see we're going to turn our attention to Oklahoma and that matchup that we have this weekend here, 2:30 Central Time in Tuscaloosa. All that coming up when we come back after this quick timeout. You're listening to the Miller's Edge, Top 100.9, 1230 WTVC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. We'll be right back. What's up, y'all? Yeah, sorry about that. We were playing the press conference on radio, and I was going to just start the stream, but I was finishing up with the HVAC service, man. Guys, my house was on it just was slowly just ticking down. And last night it was at 59, and I was like, man, let me call somebody, see if they can come out here. And they didn't get back with me until this morning. And so they finally got it here, and we're finishing up. So I needed to get that done, because I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't know if I would have been able to knock out a whole 2-hour show in that type of I was bundled up though. I slept with jackets on and stuff, man. Tia says I need not a weighted blanket, a heated blanket. I do, man. My mom used to always have a heated blanket, bro. I need to get one. I definitely need to get me one. Speaking of veterans, happy Veterans Day. We got any veterans in the chat or any listeners? I'll have to repeat this when we come back from break for our radio listeners. But so I'm texting Slade. I'm gonna get Slade to jump on here. We might do it a little early. Might go ahead and just do it now. I know he's got some stuff in a minute. Clint, we're going to reschedule Clint for another day this week. He has something come up, by the way. Who's all in here? Tia, Christian, what's up? Q06, Daryl, what's going on? You didn't see our post yesterday. No, we were on here yesterday. We had a whole show yesterday. Retired Navy, man. Appreciate your service. Tell me, Steve Miller. Dwight, what's up? Jake, what's going on? You Kenji. What's up? It was 25. No, I can't do the cold, guys. Because we got this cold front right now. It's what? What is it outside? 40? 30 something? 41 back in South Carolina? Wow. Yeah, you guys can have the cold and the snow and all that, bro. I'm good on it. Totally good on that. All right, cool. We'll get Slade to jump on here. We'll talk with Slade first. We'll get Slade to jump on here for a minute. Then we'll dive into Oklahoma here in a little bit. Oh yeah, that's right. Q06. Appreciate that, bro. Appreciate your service. Guys, I've been making these smoothies, man. I still eat breakfast, man. I'm not one of those people that only drink smoothies, but these smoothies, man. Trying to get more fruit in my diet. Solid stuff, man. Recommend you guys get like a little NutriBullet, one of those small little blenders. That's all I use, man. It's so easy. And I get like the frozen fruit from Aldi. It's cheap. It's like $7 for like a huge bag. Some juice, like 250. I mean, it'd probably make you like 8 to 10 smoothies, man. Less than $10. I'm all about a budget if you can't tell, man. I'm always always trying to hit a lick. Feels like 10 here, 2 inches of snow. Yeah, Jake, come on down, bro. Come on down. Normally I wouldn't be telling all the northerners to come down south because obviously we don't like a whole bunch of people coming on down here. It's not as bad here like Florida, but you're welcome though, Jake. You're welcome. You and the fam are welcome down here, man. You got my blessing to move down here, man. Not that you even need that. Anything big that trying to think. I hadn't even met with Chase, man. I didn't even get a chance to that. Chase, anything we got the college football playoff rankings coming out tonight. We need to hit that, or at least preview that. Anything else, man? I feel bad we ain't really shown Alabama basketball love. They had a big win this past weekend, but we're kind of locked in on football right now. We definitely will turn our attention there at some point. Let's see. And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch sport experts. Man, I'm just going to say this. I've been really counting my blessings lately. Like I definitely have, like all the little things I truly have. And just yet another reminder, man, that like my heat going out. And this is like, man, if anybody's listening out there, just remember the little things that we often overlook. I know that's kind of a big one. You're talking about heat going out, but it's just like, man, like I'm so blessed just that you forget just how important having a regular heater, you know what I mean? Like a heat system in your home. And then you're like, man, I'm so grateful I got jackets and blankets and stuff. So I'm like, golly, man, there's people that don't, bro. There's people that are outside that have to sleep in that, man. Like, golly. So count your blessing, folks. That's all I'm saying. Count your blessings. Welcome back in. It's a Talking Tuesday. Some updates for you guys. We listened to Kalen DeBoer, the first segment. He did his press conference yesterday. We'll dive into that a little bit. We definitely want to talk some Oklahoma, Alabama early preview. You guys know how it is. We're going to stretch it out. We're not going to do too much of a deep dive, but just some initial thoughts and comments on that matchup. We'll do that here in a minute because I just reached out to Slade, and Slade Bolden's going to be jumping on here in about 2 or 3 minutes or so, probably around 11:30. So we'll talk to him. We'll revisit the LSU game a little bit. He was in town. I just want to get his thoughts on it. He's been doing his breakdown, so we'll do that. Plus, we'll I don't know. Hopefully, we can put a bow on this whole podcast thing and just drop an episode this week or something. But that being said, we'll have him on here in a few minutes. Clint Lamb of Cover Crimson typically joins us on Tuesdays now, as you guys know and enjoy. But he had to reschedule. He's had something come up, so we're going to probably try to push it to sometime this week. If not, we'll definitely get back on schedule next week. No worries there. But just wanted to let you guys know that. But normally Tuesdays, top of the hour, we get Clint on here. We're going to reschedule, but we got Slade coming on in a few minutes, so we'll do that. And then, we'll keep on rolling from there. Other thing I wanted to hit too, you got the playoff rankings this evening that will be unveiled the second week in doing so. So if you guys want to preview that a little bit, we definitely can do that. Definitely going to be some changes. I don't expect there to be too many with the top slots. You got Ohio State that won. Texas A&M beat Missouri. Indiana, they survived Penn State. Man, talk about Mendoza with that game-winning drive. A lot of people said, oh, man, he might have really just moved into that first place spot for the Heisman because of that drive. So they won, obviously. Alabama won. We know that. Got a big win over LSU at home. And, and nothing changed with Georgia either. So I don't really expect any movement there, Chase. Could you maybe see Texas A&M jumping Indiana right? Both teams remain undefeated. I would argue now Missouri, the team that they beat, backup quarterback Bo Prabula is hurt. He's out. Had that leg injury a couple weeks ago against Vanderbilt. But Texas A&M went on the road. It was a good win. Missouri is no longer ranked, but maybe could we see Texas A&M jump into that number 2 slot, or do you think everything remains the same 1 through 5, Chase?
I think Texas A&M could move in the 2 spot. It was a huge win, like you said, for Indiana to beat Penn State. I thought Indiana was going to have an upset. There was just no way, but they did it. Signetti proves me once again. But I think with A&M and really they've been consistent each and every week. Christian, I haven't
Mhm.
really seen any flaws. They're facing top defenses, and it's just they're counteracting them with wins. So I
Yeah.
think they have a strong enough case. They've beaten, let me see, 1, 2, they've beaten 3 top 25 teams on the road. Notre Dame, that was in, I think it was in September. Then you have LSU, that was about a week or 2 ago, and then Missouri recently, even though they have a backup quarterback, that's still a ranked win. They've been taking care of their business at home, against Florida, Auburn, Mississippi State, and so forth. But I think A&M has a strong case. Especially they're in a driving seat right now to be in the SEC championship. I feel like they're really the favorites right now because how well they've been playing. Nobody has stopped them. Nobody.
Yeah.
I'm looking at these scores, Christian. They're like ever since the 27th of, I believe, September when they played Auburn, they've averaged more than 30 points.
Dang.
That's insane. So I think A&M definitely has it in them to move to the second spot.
Yeah, and if you look at strength of schedule, right? Like you mentioned, those quality wins, I would give that to A&M. So it wouldn't shock me if they move up. And if anything, I think the committee needs to respect that, like that precedent, right? They talk about wins being important and the quality of those wins. Well, I think you got to give that nod to Texas A&M. So we'll see. I mean, it really doesn't make a huge difference right now. Again, there's plenty of ball left, and if we learned anything, there's going to be some changes. I've got this pulled up here on the stream for you guys to see. This is the current AP top 25. Again, we're talking about the playoff rankings, which really matter the most, right? When it comes to the whole nitty gritty that will be unveiled tonight. BYU was undefeated. They dropped 4 spots in the AP, right, after losing to Texas Tech, who advanced to be 9-1. They got the win over BYU, and they moved up a slot, but they're in that number 8 spot. So really, you don't see too much movement in those spots that we just mentioned. I just was curious the thoughts about Texas A&M because I agree with you, Chase. They look to be a really good football team, man. I like their quarterback a lot. I like what they're doing defensively. They've done some great stuff getting after the quarterback. Just overall, they look a very sound football team, right, on both sides of the football in all phases. So I wouldn't be shocked if they move up, and that's going to be, in my opinion. I mean, they've got Texas remaining on their schedule. Let me see the other games that they have. I know Texas was the big one. They've got South Carolina, Samford, and Texas, right? Um, I feel pretty strongly about the matchup with South Carolina. I mean, I'm sure South Carolina might be a little scrappy here and there, but yeah, I'll take Texas A&M there. But Texas is going to be the interesting one, and if they finish that one, which is going to be close, I'd almost argue, Chase, even if they lose that. So if they lose to Texas, I'd have to get somebody else on here to really break this down. I'm not great when it comes to this, but that would be their first loss overall and first loss in conference. So that'd be interesting how it plays out, though. The problem is, even though Texas would have the edge over them, they still would have losses to what? Florida and who was their other loss? Oh, it was Ohio State. So Texas is a one-loss SEC team. Man, yeah, I'm not even going to try to do the math and the numbers on that. That would be interesting to see how that plays out. But if they take care of business, they're definitely seeing themselves in the SEC championship game. And I would imagine if we win out, that's obviously who we would face, which I think that'd be a damn good game. That being said, other movement tonight, I don't know anything really drastic other than BYU dropping some. That's probably going to bump. I think Texas was like the first team out on the last one, so maybe that bumps them in. Other than that, I think everything will remain the same. So maybe the big change or the only change you see tonight is a Texas team being bumped in there and BYU being bumped out. Again, this doesn't really matter too much because the last one is the most important one. We all know that, but just wanted to kind of cover that real quick. All right, let's do this. Let's hit a quick timeout. We got Slade hopping on here. When we come back, we'll get his thoughts on this Alabama LSU game. He was in attendance, hanging out. Looked like he was trying some bourbon or something pregame, man. I got to ask him about that, what he had going on there. And he was talking with the ops. I saw videos of him talking with the ops pregame, man. Slade, we got to ask Slade a couple questions. We'll do that when we come back at this quick timeout. Side 100.9, 1230. WTBC presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Sport Experts. We'll be right back.
The holiday season is here, and the YMCA Men's Club is kicking it off with their annual Christmas tree sale. Starting Friday, November 14th, stop by the Bolero Bowling Center parking lot.
What up, dog?
Located at 2001.
What's up?
Hey, man, I had to throw you under the bus there, man. You know,
I see that.
Yeah, I had to throw you under the bus.
I was just trying to get the game plan. That's it. I was just trying to steal the game plan, you know.
No,
I think of course they got the one time I talked to one of the LSU players, but
no, you from the booth, bro. It makes sense, bro. And you play with him, right?
So he came in the year after I left. Aaron Anderson, right? Yeah, he's from Louisiana, and I remember when he was getting recruited, Coach Wiggins would always be, hey, you know, Aaron's from, you know, he's from New Orleans, and you know, so we would always, so me and Smitty would. I don't know if Smitty was there when he was getting recruited, but he probably was a junior at that time. But yeah, I chopped it up a few times. Then when I'd go back, I went back a couple times the next year, and so I mean I'm not like super close with him, but I just saw him, and you know he's been playing well, so I just was trying to tell him, keep balling, but just don't ball out this game that much. But it's funny. See, I had a situation where I had the zone tickets, and I left the field about 6:10, probably, give myself some time, because I don't know the stadium well at all. Like it's a maze back there, I'm telling you. And I know the people that work there don't know, they're probably just responsible for their certain level or gate, but dude, I had to go through 10 different people to try to get to the gate, because it was kind of hit. I couldn't find it myself, and obviously I was like, well, I just need to ask, so I'm not walking around this whole stadium. And it took forever. It took like 30 minutes to get up there, and so I missed like some of the first quarter, and then some other stuff happened and I was like, I got pretty frustrated, but like that little that little event that I had to go through went to for Evan Williams, which was awesome. I had such a blast. But we were shooting some bourbon. I was with like some fans. Some of my buddies came by. I was feeling pretty good walking into the game. I wouldn't expect that catches up quick on you. I didn't realize how quick I was, going to get hit there. But
I might have lost you for a second. Hold on. I was trying to do this tweet. It might be on my end. Let me go look. Oh, maybe we lost Slade for a second. He'll jump back on. I was going to ask him. I wonder if they're giving him a hard time. I know security's been a lot different recently, man. Like I've heard of like a number of former players having some issues trying to navigate around and do some stuff, which I get security trying to do their job for sure. But I had an idea because somebody was talking about something recently. I'm like, man, maybe they should come up with something that. Oh, here we go. Oh, there you go. We might have lost you for a second.
Yeah, somebody, I had somebody call me and then just like kicked me out of everything. It was weird.
Oh, you're good. You're good. We're about to come back here right now. I'm about to do this.
All right,
cool. And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, tied 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Support Experts. All right, we're now joined live by former Alabama wide receiver Slade Bolden. I was joking around, guys. He wasn't talking with the ops. It was all a joke. He was chatting it up with former Alabama wide receiver Aaron Anderson, really good player, by the way, who is also from LSU. Slade was telling us during the break for our radio listeners, he was in charge of helping recruit an Aaron, and obviously they established a relationship there. It wouldn't even matter if he was going over there. It was all fun and games. But Slade, I was going to ask you. You mentioned having some troubles navigating the stadium. You're 100% right. I don't even know. I really don't think people understand. Like when we're players, we're not exposed to so much. Like it wasn't until after I got done, I didn't really know hardly all the activities that go on the quad. I never knew about these different zones and areas of this. Literally to this day, somehow I was like, yeah, you know where Coach Saban's office is in the stadium? I was like, like when he first got, I was like, no. They're like, oh, on this side next. I'm like, bro, I've only been in the locker room, on the field, and in that one zone area where they hold the events, like the front entrance area. I was like, I don't. And then I think, I did I was doing some stuff with broadcasting, some like one other area. Other than that, I've never seen these boxes and these other things. You might have, like with Keaton, I think they have some boxing stuff, but you get what I'm saying? Like there's so many other areas that I'm like, as players, we don't even see half this stuff. We have no idea of half of these things going on.
Oh, it's a maze. I'm telling you, it is a maze, and you have to basically go into your gate from the outside. And I was on the field pregame, and I asked a couple people because I knew it. I've experienced before. I've gone to the zone one time, and I was with people that had been there a couple times, so they knew how to navigate through that. And I was told one thing. I was told to leave the stadium and then come back into the gate I was supposed to go into, because I couldn't tell you where that gate was to begin with.
No.
And then before I was about to leave, I was like, let me make sure. And the lady was like, hey, you can't leave. You can't get back in. So that kind of just messed up the whole, I mean, it was, and I'm not, I don't want to throw stone at any of the workers. I hope I didn't, I was getting pretty frustrated there towards the end, and I wasn't trying to be disrespectful at all. I'm just like, hey, you're like the 10th person I've talked to, and I still can't really get an
They're
answer.
just sending
But
you in a whole loop.
Oh, it was crazy. But next time, obviously, I'll know. But like you said, I've been fortunate. A lot of the games I went to last year, I was basically just on the sidelines the whole time, which I know how to get, to that entrance, which is where we would basically come out after the games. It's the same one. And the stadium does look a little different. Like I feel like they've changed some of the entrances and how you kind of navigate through it. But man, I'm gonna make sure if I get in that situation again to leave before it's too late so I can go back into the true gate. But it was, we had an awesome time, and it's so funny, when I got to my seats, I watched the game, but there's some times like I'm talking to people, I'm going to get some food, I'm getting a drink, whatever it was. Like I don't remember a whole lot of the plays, and maybe a lot had to do with that Evan Williams bourbon event that I had to go to as well, because we were having a good time, and I was trying some whiskey with some different different fans and friends. So it was awesome. But unbelievable experience. I've watched obviously some of the replay stuff on the game, and it's always good to go back, and I got to go to the facility, see some people that I hadn't seen in a while. It's my first game back this year. Just been super busy with the real world and work, so it's been kind of tough during this time of the year. This is our busiest season in insurance, which is really fun with renewals and open enrollment. But I thought about going to Oklahoma game. I'm in Nashville right now. I had a couple meetings out here, so I'm like, all right, I need to relax on the traveling.
Slow down a little
was in
bit.
Italy this year with my girlfriend, so yeah, I need to slow down. But it was awesome. Obviously, I know we got the win, but I'm sure there's still some issues here.
Yeah, no, and then I definitely wanted to ask you about a couple of those for sure. And then at the end, I got a question that is about a conversation that came up yesterday, and I think you'd have some insight on it. But about some of those issues you mentioned, right? Because looking back at this game, I know you said bits and pieces of it you remember. Some might not be in the clears,
right?
But overall, this is how I would view that game. Defense continues to play better. We've been talking about defense making those strides, and they continue to do so. Held them out of the end zone. I mean, 9 points, 3 field goals. Pass rush came up big, even though there weren't really as many opportunities as they probably would have hoped, right? Because literally screen game after screen game, quick pass. They were trying to protect that offensive line. We know all that part. So defense, we get it. They play good, and I hit on that. But I want to ask you about this. Offensively, Ty Simpson, had his numbers right here. It won a bad game by any means. Ty was 21 and 35, 277 yards, 1 touchdown, had no turnovers other than the strip sack, but didn't throw a pick. But, he set the standard so high. I mean, one might say, it wasn't a great game, but realistically, he had some NFL type throws. And again, the pre-snap stuff he does is, second to none, all that. But to me, those concerns that you probably referenced them is the inability to run the football, which I think is a big deal. And I want to get your thoughts on that. And then two, it just seems like offensively, something's just not like we're not having that same success that we saw earlier. We're not having those long sustainable drives. We're seeing more 3 and outs. And part of that to me is, when you're not having success running the ball, you're setting yourself up for 3rd and longs. And then when we are in those short yardage situations, we don't trust our run game enough that we're resorting to tricks and gimmicks just for 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1 and situations. What are your thoughts on what we're seeing from the offense, and how concerning is it that we're not having the ability to run the football at this point in the season?
Yeah, just from the beginning, we're always going to get everybody's best game. And LSU has a great defense. I think that's the one thing that they've shown throughout the year that has been pretty consistent. I've been saying from a long time, or since they've kind of lost 3 games now, and this was their 4th loss, right? We gave them the 4th loss. I was so surprised the way LSU's played all year, because on paper I thought they were super talented, and I thought their offense was super talented. I'm not saying they aren't, but something isn't clicking on their side. And not that I'm going to sit there and analyze their offense, but I knew their defense was good. They've been playing pretty consistently well all year, and they're coming in Tuscaloosa, and that was kind of the one thing. It was either going to be a blowout or a tough game. It kind of was like in between, because it almost was looking like a trap game essentially. If we'd have went there, it's 100% a trap game in my mind, just because the head coach gets fired. They don't have anything to lose. They're not making the playoffs. That's a dangerous team. They're kind of in desperate mode a little bit, and obviously they can knock off Bama. That makes their season. Same thing when we always go play Auburn at Auburn, and they're 6-5 or 7-4, whatever it is, and they're not even ranked, and they come out playing like gladiators. I was kind of worried about that going into the game, that maybe they were going to just come out and play us really tough, and we just going to have to weather that storm, especially the first quarter, first half, and hopefully make some good adjustments and come back and just seal the game. But I think we had so many missed opportunities on offense. Just one situation where we had the strip fumble. It resulted in a field goal, and you got to take advantage of those turnovers and sustain the drives that we weren't able to really truly do. Like you said, we're kind of going to gimmicks and fake pass reverses, and handing the ball to the receiver on a run game. And but I think when you get a turnover and it's on in your end zone side, like, you need to that's what you start. That's how you start putting teams away early. And
Yep.
when you're not able to do that, and you're not able to take advantage of those opportunities, you keep people in the game. You keep the other team hopeful and momentum. And yeah, I know we had 1 turnover on our side, but uh, we controlled the ball well, but we just couldn't, like you said, sustain the drives, convert third downs. And I there were some situations where we had third and shorts and we couldn't convert. And
Yep.
that probably has a lot to do with the lack of faith in our run game. And because obviously I don't know exactly the calls, what their blocking schemes may be, but that was one issue that I feel we've had uh, over a lot of these games. Through the games we've played, I think. I know there's some moving parts. Guys were hurt. We're trying guys at different position, but at the end of the day, you just got to play as one unit. And I've said this before. It probably sound like a broken record, but uh, I don't think it has anything to do with our talent at running back. Because we saw a difference when Jam came back. We saw a little more explosiveness, but I feel like our other guys, RJ being one of them, 4 has played well, but there just seems to be a lack of um, physicality, a lack of just like toughness, and maybe they're just super raw. Maybe they're just super raw. I know Caden Proctor is probably the most experienced, established guy on that O line, and I know with transfer portal and all these things, we have another guy, number 71, that came in from a different school, but and maybe some others. And I know so one thing I want to ask you is our center that came originally from Washington, is he still healthy and playing?
Yeah,
Because if
yeah,
it's not,
yeah, that's him. Yeah, Parker Brailsford. Yeah,
okay,
no, he's no, and honestly, he does a really good job. If anything, I think he's probably our best offensive line, at least most consistent up
yeah,
front. I think he's a really good center, little undersized, but for what they need him to do, I mean, the movement and whatnot, it works well. And he's kind of like, even though he's smaller, he can hold his own for sure. He gets underneath
yeah,
guys and does a nice job. But Dewberry, 71, like you mentioned, he's a big physical guy, but I think he struggles with his footwork. And that's one thing I'm almost wondering, like, if you watch how they ran the ball at Washington,
yeah,
requires, guys to move, pin and pull stuff. I mean, you got to be able to, move in space, move your feet. I think we've got big guys, and maybe they're not the best at that movement, but still, it's like, all right, then maybe gap scheme, duo, stuff like that should, fit these guys better. But we're not even doing that great. And to me,
yeah,
that's just interesting. We're not able to get that push at times, or sometimes we do, but not everybody. Like I saw, like that 4th and 1, everybody was on a different level. Like Caden
yeah,
Proctor's blocking this guy down the field. Dewberry's kind of stalemate at the line of scrimmage. The center's down the field. Like it's almost like a zigzag. And I'm like, as a unit, man, you got to work as one, like you mentioned. But I like what you mentioned too, though. You said about putting teams away, and I think that's a good point, because there's a lot of people that go, and I get both sides. They say, "Oh, well, people are complaining that we're not blowing teams out," and I'm like, well, somebody's complaining that we're not blowing teams out. That's one thing. But if you're
yeah,
analyzing like you're analyzing it, and you're saying like it's not that, oh, we're not blowing teams out. It's the fashion in which we have opportunities, but we're missing these opportunities, and it's creating games to be much closer than they need to be. And
hmm,
we've been able to finish the right way, which is really important. But you just have to imagine at some point you might face a team that is an equal opponent, and they're going to capitalize on you missing those opportunities, and it could come back to bite you. Because once you get in the postseason, there's no like, oh man, it's one more loss. We're still it's you lose and
yeah,
go home. So
yeah.
that's a good point that you made.
Yeah, you hit it on the head, Seaman. I mean, that's a perfect description. It's we get down the road and then we get to playoffs. We're gonna face better teams than LSU. Not saying that they're not a bad team, and they're probably playing better than they are or have been against us, considering the circumstance. But yeah, you keep a good team hanging around. That's one thing that I thought we did so well against Georgia. We took advantage of those opportunities, and I believe we may have left one or two off on the field that we could have took advantage of. But you play a really good team, and you instead of scoring a touchdown and you having to kick a field goal because you didn't take advantage of a fumble in your own end zone. Yeah, that lets the other team know that, hey, there's still a chance, and the office obviously the opposing defense is like, oh, we got their number, like we can keep them. We just need the offense to uh, go down the field and score for us. You keep doing that, and you play a really good team down the road. That one may not even give you those opportunities to take advantage of to put them away earlier. But yeah, you keep somebody in a game like that, and they're really good, and they even take advantage of the mistakes that we make. It's
Hmm.
it can become ugly in a way. It can also, or it's going to come down to the wire every game. And luckily, I feel like we've been in situations and we've played teams like South Carolina, Missouri, and a tough environment. It's SEC ball. It is what it is. It's going to be hard, and we've had to kind of go through those uh, tough trials of trying to come into someone's own turf and weather the storm and deal with the environment, deal with the the crowd and the noise. And so we've been in situations where I do think we can handle it at the end of the day. But why even get to that point. I know obviously when it comes to the run game, I don't know what Grubb's offensive blocking schemes are. He's definitely an unbelievable pass caller, and he has guys that probably make it easy for him to call those plays. But uh, Ty not having the game we've been seeing all year, you need some help. You got to be able to establish that run game. That's just opening up the pass game even more. It all plays a part. It all does. And I think that's something that maybe it goes above just the offensive line as players. Maybe it is the blocking coordinator, whether that's the running backs coach or Grubb, whoever has that final say on. Okay, are we better outside zone, inside zone? Are we better at trap? Are we better at pull? What or counter plays? How can we help our guys and the type of ability that they have, produce better and create better leverage and get to the second level better? So I think it's a tale of two. It's the offensive line unit. As much as I think Ty Simpson's an unbelievable leader, you got to have a leader on the O line too. And it may be Caden, it may be Parker at center, but I'm still not seeing the mentality that I'd like, because you can you can make a bad scheme turn good when you're throwing guys out of the club, and whoever's in your way, they're getting moved. So that is a possibility. I think it comes down to all levels with the coaching and the players. So I think everybody has to just take responsibility and accountability of it, and study what went wrong, what can they do better, and possibly from a coaching standpoint, put those guys in a better situation to produce a more efficient run game.
No, 100%. So we got wait, how much time you got? Because I know you got a meeting coming up.
I mean, I got, let's say 10, 15 minutes.
All right. So I'm gonna save this for when we come back real quick. I won't hold you long, but I had to ask.
No, you're good.
I have to ask you one more question when we come back, because I'm really curious, because the conversation came up, because your last year was 22, right?
21.
20. Oh, damn. So you wouldn't be able to answer this then. Damn,
Well,
I was thinking you still were there in 22 for some reason, man. Damn. I was going to ask, and I'll tell you during the break. I still will ask you though, because I'm
Okay.
curious your thoughts on it. But it's pertaining the whole, when Bo went back and asked about the mouthpiece. And I know our listeners are like, oh no, not this. But I was going to ask you, because if you were on the team, I was just going to be it's like if I was a fly on the wall, wonder how that went when they made that decision to wear them after Bo went up there. But don't worry about it. I'll get you back for one more segment after this timeout, just to put a bow on everything, and then
yeah,
let you get what you got to do.
I
But
know what you're talking about, but I might need more details.
oh man, all right. Well, let's hit this top of the hour break real quick. We come back, we'll get one more segment real quick in with Slade, where he's got to get rolling. And you guys have any questions too? Maybe we'll let you ask him one or two before he goes to. You listening to the Miller's Edge, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Art Support Experts. Quick timeout. We'll be right back. All right. Yeah, no, see, so what I was going to ask was, because I don't know if you saw the clip, but Terrion had brought up on the podcast thing that he was doing. And again, let me reiterate, because everybody was, oh, why y'all bring this to the internet? That ain't this. Y'all need to. I'm like, bro, there's nothing. I just was going to ask, if you were on that team, like, how did that conversation go? Because their answer to the mouthpiece thing after he went up there literally was, I guess Bryce, like I said, oh, everybody's wearing the green mouthpiece. I was just going to ask, if you were on that team, like, how was that whole thing? But you weren't, though. So I was like, damn, never mind.
Well, is this when Bo came in and talked to the team?
Yeah.
And
So
was
basically,
like, man, take them mouthpieces out of your helmet or something like that. Like, went
yeah,
crazy.
he was complaining about the green mouthpieces, saying like that ain't the standard. Like, we've always wore black cleats, this and that. Like, but the way he did it, like, and I'll be honest, he did kind of go at them, kind of like he went at their neck. Like, I talked to
oh, I remember, because I had guys that that were still there that I played with, that came back and told the guys that were gone, you wouldn't believe it. Bo came in and like flashed out on us, and I remember it being about the mouthpieces, because everybody was sticking them on their heads or something like that,
it was
or
because they were
wearing
green.
more than one.
They're wearing green, and then they're putting the helmets and stuff. But the thing was, his whole thing was, it was more, the message was like, that's not how we do things here. right? But I think the way they heard it was, and then maybe he didn't get this point across the best, but he just was trying to. You know how it is,
Yeah.
like especially
I
when you're
love
younger and
Bo,
you
but
hear, yeah, you know what I'm saying, like, and then you hear somebody coming at you, like, and you're like, hold on. But I tweeted because when I saw that, I was like, I don't think people understand. Like Ruben did that same thing to us when I was there in 2017. Right?
Yeah.
Wait, were you with us that year? You were
Came right
18.
after.
I was about to say, my bad. I keep mixing up. 18. You were 18, 21. All right.
Mhm.
So literally right before you came, Ruben came back and did the same thing. And when I tell you he like spazzed on us, like it was because I had some people say, like, oh, well, it was the way he did it. Oh, it's only the mouthpiece. I was like, no. And I don't remember why. I forgot what was going on with us because I don't even think like 17, we lost at the very end of the year. So it was, I can't remember what it was, man. But just Ruben
Auburn?
came back. Yeah, but it was before low key. I think it was before that, or maybe it was after Auburn. Maybe it was before we went into the playoffs. That's a good point. He came back though, and I'm talking about in front of a team meeting. I'm talking about dog cussed us. Ronnie, you know better. Like I'm talking about like everybody point finger. I'm talking about like went in on us. And all I was saying was, it's just kind of interesting because we had a very similar thing, and like we could have very much been like, man, forget Ruben ain't with us no more. Blah, blah. Like, but it was like the complete opposite. Like, everybody was like, nah, man, bet nah, he's right. This and that. Like, respect it. And we ended up winning the Natty that year. And then, but in 22, I remember Bo did that. And then that was the year they lost to Tennessee. They lost to LSU. They didn't even make the playoffs. And so I just put that in a tweet. I was like, for what it's worth, it's kind of interesting. Like two very similar situations. I don't think people know this, but these are the results. And I had some people kind of like, oh wow, y'all old heads. I'm like, bro, I'm not tripping on anything. I'm cool with all of these guys. Terry, like, it's just interesting the different responses, how it's changed over the years.
It is. And it's because there's a level of respect to it, right? Like maybe Bo was a little more.
He took the old school approach.
Yeah, like well, I'm saying, Ruben, y'all play with Ruben for the most part, right? I feel like all the old heads did.
Yeah, because it was like a year removed.
Y'all saw his work, and Bo maybe not as the echelon of Reuben Foster from a player, but I mean he was one of the best running backs
he's a
in
dog.
college football during his time. He was, and everybody knew who Bo Scarborough was, but I think it's hard to kind of say how these guys were taking it because I felt like my class was like the last like true saving recruited like it was like we weren't no NIL too, maybe that a lot of guys get a little entitled. We had obviously we all played with entitlement guys, that were come in 5-star recruits expected to play. It's always been that way, but you add that and then plus NIL, then people are like, man, fuck, who is this dude talking about?
You
Like,
can't
I'm gonna
tell.
go
You
out
can't tell
there.
him.
Yeah, like so there's two sides of it. I feel like it's like, maybe Bo didn't deliver it in the best way, but it's also the guys in those seats he was talking to not really understanding how much this shit meant to us and like that standard and like what it truly meant in our eyes and why it was so important. And so it is kind of, it's tough. It's tough, like on both ends, really, because I love Bo to death. May not be the best public speaker, but he was probably just super
He's
passionate and fired
passionate, bro.
up.
He's
And
passionate, bro. He's
you
passionate.
get in that mode. It may not come out.
on Tide 100.9.
No, you're right. That's funny. And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Sport Experts. We got Slade Bolden with us, former Alabama wide receiver. You guys, everybody knows Slade. Slade, we gotta decide this name, by the way, because our folks in the chat, they're like, man, did y'all get this name? We get this name? I'm like, at this point, let's just send it. We'll just hop on here and do one, and then we'll just. There's some good ones. Somebody came up with another one. I forgot to send you. It was like the bold edge, and then what was the other one?
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I was like, it's kind of dope. I mean, the bold edge. I mean, it's
Mhm.
kind of cool too. Anyway, but we'll definitely do that in a second.
Yeah. As long
I,
as we talk, as long as we deliver what we're trying to say
we just
well,
talking
hopefully it
ball.
doesn't matter what the name.
I was about to say it's my fault. I'm just like, man, I just want to make sure it's solid because I'm like, I know it's gonna
Yeah.
be great, man. Everybody's doing it. Well, I'll text you though. Or I'll ask you real quick after we get done with this. So in terms of like, if you're free sometime this week, we can just run one.
Yeah. 100%.
We can just hop on here if you're free in the evening. What was I going to ask you? All right, so during the break, of course, you literally are right in between both those dates, 18 through 21. The first one I was
Yeah.
talking about was 17. This one was in 22, but we don't even need to. It's fine. That makes perfect sense. I think what you explained during the break, basically, say was just saying he understands both things of it. I just was curious if you were in that meeting. I just was like, man, I wish I could be a fly on the wall and be like, how did
Yeah, me
y'all
too.
or they respond? Like, because I know he worded like, oh, Bryce is like, oh, you know what? We're all wearing green mouthpieces. I know sure as hell it wasn't worded like that. I could just only imagine like, man, this dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't already know it was probably funny, but and what was the other thing I was going to ask you? Have you had a chance to watch Oklahoma at all this year?
Yeah, I mean, just from, casually watching it with some buddies, I think depending on how healthy Materia is, I feel like they have a great defense. So I will say they got a great defensive line, which is kind of where
Mm-hmm.
we're worried, or
Yeah.
I would be worried considering how we've established O-line in the trenches this year and how we looked this last game. This is where it's so important that this week we really truly find a better way to establish the run game. Because we look like we pass block well, because there's a reason why Ty's had all the time to make the throws that he's made.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has to work together, but I will say that's going to be a big question mark and concern going into this game is how we're going to establish the run game and that mentality in the trenches. So
Yeah.
that's going to be fun to watch,
Yeah. No,
or
I know.
hopefully fun to watch, and
Yeah, I was
not
about to say,
not
for
tough to
good or
watch.
bad, for good or bad,
Right.
we'll see. Yeah, battle of the trenches is gonna be huge, man. Like their front, I've been watching them. Bro, they've got some dudes, bro, inside out,
Mhm.
outside in. I mean, they got guys that can rush off the edge. They've got some big, strong, physical guys in the middle, and then you pair all that with Brent Venables, who I've got
Mhm.
experience with for sure. I mean, because he was at Clemson when I was here in college playing them all those years, and he's a defensive guru, man. He's going to dial
No
stuff
doubt.
up. He's going to bring pressure. And I thought that was one thing that, to me, and I knew LSU was going to do that. I mean, they didn't have like
Mm.
the most edge presence up front. And, Baker, he's a good coordinator. He's dialing up pressure. And that's one thing, man, about our offense. Like you said, though, I want to give credit to our offensive line because I said a few weeks ago, right, we were going to need to continue to shore up our offensive line and keep Ty clean if we were going to want to have success because at this point, it's evident, right? Like, to me, this is how I view it. Like, can we salvage our run game? We could probably salvage it. Is it going to be where we're rushing for 150 a game? Hell no. That's just not who we
Right.
are. But can we try to find ways, like you mentioned earlier, really lean into what our guys do well and really try to just kind of get that going? Sure, and help it out a little bit, which I think is important. Like you mentioned too, taking all that pressure off Ty. I think part of the reason we're seeing a little bit of these dips in his performances, he's feeling like he's got to do so much. We don't have
Yeah.
a running game to rely on. I mean, he's kind of, I think he's feeling kind of how Jalen Milroe started to feel at times because it's kind of on your shoulders. You have
Yeah.
to make play.
For both. Miller
Yeah.
had to be the run game and the pass game
Yeah.
at
And
times.
then,
Yeah.
and the offensive line wasn't performing as well as they are right now, at least in terms of pass pro. But I do want to give credit because they have been a lot better in picking up some of those pressures we talked about, which is not easy when you're bringing a lot of heat. And I think our backs need to be a little bit better, right? They've kind of digressed a little bit in their pass pro,
Yeah.
but that will probably be something to pay attention to. Then on the other side, when I was watching Oklahoma Slade, I feel like they're capable of putting some points on the board, but they're not like they themselves don't run it great. Mateer
Yeah.
hasn't been as I guess as good as he was before
Yeah.
the injury. But it will be interesting though. I will say, I mean, I think this game definitely will probably be a really interesting game. And I think if Oklahoma's going to have a chance in this game, it's going to be because of their defense. It's going to be because their defense is stalling our drives, forcing 3 and outs, really making it tough for us to get in the end zone. Maybe we're, getting, like you said, those 3 points, but can we actually, get in the end zone, put enough points on the board where their offense can't? Because that's kind of what it's been recently, right? It's like we're scoring just enough to kind of keep our distance, but we're not like running up the points. And you're going about to play another really good defense who's not, I think they're averaging like something crazy, like less than like 10 points allowed per game or something like that. I think, or no, 14. They're giving up 14 points a game. But I think they're like second in the conference in terms of like total defense, if not first. So yeah, we got our hands full this week.
Yeah,
maybe
it's
good you're
gonna
going to chill at
be a
home.
great test. Huh?
Maybe it's good you're just going to take this weekend off.
Yeah,
Maybe it's one of those games.
I might turn in the bow and go holler at them at halftime. No, they kick me out. But we'll see. I think it's gonna be a great test. I think we this is a good time to figure things out for sure, and get some things figured out before we head into the SEC championship and playoffs. But I think we are playing at such a high level on offense at times that we will be able to uh, get over like the lack of run game hump. But
Yeah.
if we want to be good teams, because Oklahoma's kind of similar in a way to LSU, just a better offense. But like you said, I don't think their offense has been as efficient as we all kind of saw maybe at first, and then with Tier getting hurt, maybe that had something to do with it. But yeah, Venables is going to dial it up on us, so we really have to just be so efficient and you know everything, as in ball security, fundamental blocking, finishing plays, playing with a type of mindset that is just going to tire out their defense, because we want to establish long and sustaining drives. And when you finish long sustaining drives, that's when you take the win. You start taking the win out of a good defense, because
Yep.
then it's like, well, this is not what we're used to. We can't do anything to stop them. But it's going to be a big challenge, I think, for Grubb, DeBoer, and the whole coaching staff on the offensive side. And but as a player, they need to take some accountability. They need to really hone in, study extra film. How can I, what is this guy's technique when it comes to run fit? What is this guy doing off the edge when it comes to getting to the quarterback? How can I use my skill set to take advantage of what I'm seeing from them? Because the more you do film, you study, you analyze, you figure out, okay, what's this guy's weakness, how's he been able to been leveraged before and moved before, but what's his strengths? What I need to be aware of and not surprised by. So, I think these guys need to regroup. Hey, we didn't play our best game. Let's get back to the fundamentals on how we need to play Alabama offensive ball, and maybe do some extra work in the film room. And I've seen guys get on the bags, after practice, just the guys that were really good, just working on the little things, right, the right steps, the right technique. And the more you rep it, the better you feel, the more confident you are. And then you just got to be tough. You got to have that mindset of good luck if you're in front of me.
Yeah. Yeah, especially running the ball. I mean, we always say this, this. I mean, running the football is a mentality, just like on defense. Stopping the run is a mentality. Like, I mean, it's
100%.
a lot of mono. Yeah, there's some, combo blocks up front, and we get that. But it's really about going face to face and who's going to be the more physical dominant man each snap when they do that. I mean,
right.
And you know what I mean? So it's interesting, because I'm like, we've had like a big physical, at least on paper, offensive line the past few years, but we've struggled to run the football for like since we've had these guys. So I'm like, maybe I need to ask one of our offensive line friends, like maybe they can pinpoint, like, you know what I'm saying? Because to me, I'm like, I know ball, but at some point I'm like, bro, how please explain how we got that type of person. Now that would be like on a defensive front, we have a front four of guys that got defensive ends at like 275, You got, a 320-pound nose tackle and a D tackle is like 300 strong, built like an ox, and we can't stop the run for shit. It's got crap, excuse my language.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that would just it makes no sense. The fact that it's
Yeah.
making me use words like that on air. Sorry about that, Chase.
Hey, slow is not big and slow don't work. Big and
True.
explosive is best. But
Your
sometimes
teammate Evan Neal. I mean, he's doing splits and box jumps and stuff. I mean, but come on, man, like it's got to translate.
Then you got guys like Emil Ekiyor that I played with, who was kind of undersized guard, but just super quick, agile, athletic, and stayed low and could move people very well. And I played some other guys too, but we had the big guys that were explosive as well and had great technique. So, just because you're big, those guys get moved too if you're not in the right position and you're not explosive.
Not getting your
then
head
obviously,
across, not getting your steps in the ground.
and you don't have the mindset either too. So all those things play a factor. But yeah, we're gonna find out. Hey.
Definitely will.
I'm happy we hadn't got punched in the mouth truly yet, but obviously now we're at the point where we have to win out. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a great challenge for us, and maybe it's even a closer game this week. I hope not. I hope they learn from this last game, but maybe we find out even more, and you continue just you grow throughout the season, and then hopefully we just get not perfect, but super hot and ready to roll by the time that it really means the most.
That's true, because that is coming up very quickly, man. Only 3 regular season games remaining. Slade, I appreciate you jumping on here, especially the last minute, man. Hey, do you ever you want to plug your obviously social media stuff? Insurance wise, do they have to be in your area, or does that worth anything on here?
Hey, if you own a business and you're in the United States,
okay, that definitely applies.
Yeah, I work for Higginbotham. We're actually if you ever look at the game, I don't know if they ever see it on TV, but you ever at the game, you can see our banner pull up on the screen, a little digital screen right behind the goalpost. So Higginbotham, we're like the SEC of brokerages because we're kind of throughout the Southeast. And yeah, I do employee benefits insurance, so I deal with healthcare, and healthcare is a pain. It's constantly rising, but luckily, I'm able to help people and be an advocate in that world, and it kind of found a new passion. I've always loved helping people, and I believe we're servants on this earth. That's one of the main reasons why we're here, to serve others. And fortunately, I get to that's my job. I get to do that, but it is a challenge. But at the end of the day, I always say I'm gonna take care of people, and if I don't know, by God, I'm doing everything I can to find out the solution to whatever problem there may be.
Yes, sir. Well, you guys heard it. If you guys need some insurance, got a business or anything, man, hit Slade up. He'll definitely get you taken care of. And I'm gonna hit you up. I promise. We'll try to run some either maybe tomorrow or what's Wednesday, Thursday, maybe Thursday, and try to, even if we just do it without the name for now, whatever we got to do, we'll make it work.
Yeah, I'm easy. Whatever works best.
Yes, sir. Sounds like a plan. I appreciate you, bro. Be easy, man. We'll talk soon.
All right, man. Appreciate you. Have a blessed day.
Yes, Roll sir. Tide. You too. Roll Tide. Roll Tide. That was former Alabama wide receiver Slade Bolden. Appreciate him hopping on here, hanging out with us, and talking some football. And you can definitely catch more of that, I promise, coming up soon when we start getting this podcast rolling. We'll let it rip, guys. We'll let it rip. After this quick timeout, we'll keep on talking. 205-342-9904. I think we got like one call. We'll try to dive into that. We got a couple other things we need to hit. We'll do just that when we come right back after this quick timeout.
With Black Friday savings at the Home Depot, you can get up to 40% off, plus up to an extra $1,000.
Slade, I think he's in Nashville, Keith. Sorry, I missed that before he left. I think he's in Nashville, but he said I think it works nationwide. So if you guys want to insure with Slade, man, make sure you guys contact him. ¿Qué lo que Compacts? Eso fue uno de mis compañeros de la universidad aquí. Alguien con quien jugué cuando estaba. Love your show, man. Hey, thanks, bro. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, Slade's a cool dude, man. He's a dog for sure. Score a lot is not in our DNA. Yeah, I mean, that's why I was saying earlier about Slade had a great point. You know what I mean? About taking advantage of our, opportunities better, because what's interesting to me is it's like when we come out in these second halves, we're stalling, right? Like think about the LSU game, right? So we take advantage of the opportunity. Like middle 8 is something that we focus on a lot. Think about it. You hear them talk about it. What the middle 8 is, the 4 minutes before you go into half and the 4 minutes you come out at halftime. The middle 8, right? The middle 8 minutes. I feel like before the half, I mean, we're really good. I mean, like we'll be aggressive. We'll fight to get the ball, try to do a 2-minute drill. And typically we do a damn good job on 2-minute drill. Hey Christian, let me produce some voice your imaging for your new podcast. Hey, I'm always looking for extra hands, bro. Matter of fact, if anybody does like clips, content like that, if anybody knows how to do shorts, reels, and social media stuff, I am looking for somebody to help with that. With this show and what we do with Slade. And Tony was here this weekend. Me and Tony have been chopping it up. Tony's supposed to start some stuff coming up soon, trying to get him going with Rashawn. I'm gonna help them out with that too. So if anybody's interested in trying to do that, man, shoot me a message on either X on at the Miller's Edge or my Instagram. I think that would be dope, bro, if anybody is interested. What was I saying? But yeah, the middle 8. So we're strong there, but then coming out, it's like we stall. And I get the teams are adjusting. They're coming out, right, of halftime, and they're doing well. It's not like it's only our problem, but I agree with him though. I feel like a lot of these games, I don't care about the final score. I care about why the final score is the way it is. Does that make sense? Like it's not so much that we're not blowing teams out. I don't care. I'm not like one of those. I understand, bro. It's not easy just to be doing stuff like that, like we were doing it all the time. But I do believe that you do analyze things like, all right, we shouldn't be in these situations. We're putting ourselves. Film guy sheds light on. Well, I'll be honest with you, Keith. Like, I mean, I know I can break down what's happening on plays. I understand that part. I mean, like asking an offensive lineman, like, why are their skills and stuff not translating? Like, that would be like somebody asking, like, hey, I got this defensive end who's 6'5", he's 240, he's got this explosiveness, this, that, and third. Why isn't I could do a better job explaining that part. I'm curious on that front, like why it's so hard to get our big physical linemen to be able to get more push. Like I'll be honest, I saw part of what the film guy was saying. I'll be honest with you, a lot of what he was talking about on there was pretty much what I've been saying, just from what I've seen. I didn't see the whole thing though, but from what I saw. And welcome back in to this Talking Tuesday edition of Miller's Edge, tied 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Big thanks to Slade Bolden, former Alabama wide receiver, who just joined us. We chopped it up, talked about the Alabama LSU game, previewed Alabama Oklahoma a little bit, and we definitely plan on moving forward with our whole podcast thing. Even if we just hop on here and just chop it up, we definitely need to get that going, especially now that we got the tape, even though I'm trying to pull it up, and unfortunately it's just adding a little slow, which is all good because today is just kind of a very early preview anyway. We're going to dive too deep into too much, but we're going to take a look at a couple things, which we kind of started to do with Slade when he joined us. Some quick little numbers in terms of Oklahoma, just about who they are. Brent Venables, head coach. I've got a lot of familiarity with him. He recruited me, right, coming out of high school. And I really got to know him more when played against him in, 3 out of 4 years, right? Played him in 2015, played him in 2016, played him in I played them every year. What am I talking about? I played them in the 2015 National Championship, 2016, 2018, and then I played them in the Sugar Bowl, right? So a lot of familiarity with Brent Venables, man. Chase, I'm just going to tell you, bro, he's a damn good football coach. I know everybody talks about the stealing signs and stuff or whatever the case may be. I heard Ryan Grubb kind of would seem like a joke. Not sure if it 100% was. Probably a little truth in there, maybe. But this is what I'll say about that whole deal. People always are going to be like trying to get intel on sign stuff. Now, if you're talking about like going behind the scenes or like what Michigan had going on, no. But I'm saying like, and I've talked about this on the show, right? You guys already have heard the story, but like as a defense, I mean, like it's very common. Like, and we can pick up on cues, little, verbiage or things, signs for what they do. Everybody does that. Like you honestly would be a bad football player / coach if you didn't try to look for little advantages like that. Because that's within the rules. There's no rules saying, hey, you can't sit there and watch Ty do these checks pre-snap and try to, correlate what's happening with that and then say, okay, when he's doing, this motion, right, or this signal to his receiver, they're running this concept. Nothing wrong with that. But in terms of just what he does, man, Brent Venables, he's a heck of a coach, man. And you talk about an aggressive defense, bringing, having different pressure packages and throwing a lot at you, disguising stuff. They do all those things really well. And that's part of the reason they're such a good unit. We talked about them nationally where they come in terms of scoring defense. They're 7th in the country, only giving up 14 points a game. So not too many points allowed for this unit. In terms of total defense, they also are atop the pack. They come in at 7th as well, averaging 264 yards allowed per game. In terms of the conference, they're pretty much 1 and 2 in a lot of areas. In terms of rushing defense, we're talking about trying to get our running game going. Well, not going to be an easy task this weekend. Oklahoma only is allowing on average 82 yards on the ground. In terms of total defense, they are number 1 in the conference with that 264 yards allowed. And in the conference, their scoring defense does, in fact, come in at number 1 as well. So this is probably going to be the toughest challenge that we've faced to this point, which, we face the likes of Missouri, really good defense, South Carolina, even LSU, Georgia's solid. But I would say this challenge definitely is going to be a big one for our offense. And unfortunately, it's coming at a time where our offense has now had 2 back-to-back games where we haven't looked our best. First one coming on the road to South Carolina, and then, most recently against LSU. I'll say this, though. With how good Oklahoma is and how they look, one thing I will notice, they have shown, to give up some explosive plays defensively. If you go and watch the tape, you'll see that there's times where they do give some plays up. So I'm not saying there's not going to be opportunities, but when you talk about a front that, there's less room for error. I mean, you're talking about guys that are physical, establishing that line of scrimmage. They're going to get pressure on the quarterback. They do all those things well. So, I mean, you just don't have as much room for error. But there will be some opportunities, I believe, for sure, pushing the football down the field, especially if we're able to continue to do a pretty solid job keeping Ty clean. As much as we talk about the offensive line and their struggles, you do have to give credit where it's due. And in terms of protecting them, they've continued to be pretty good doing that, right? There's been some, ups and downs at times this year. There's been a couple games where it was a little hit or miss, but to be fair, as of recent, man, they've done a pretty nice job keeping the pocket clean, and that is including the fact that they're seeing a lot of different pressures, a lot of different looks. So they need to continue to do that, because that is one of the biggest things, especially when you become one-dimensional. If you're not going to be able to run the ball, you damn sure better be able to rely on your passing game, which we've been able to do for the most part. And if you ever meet our match where we're not firing on that, that front, we probably are going to have some issues. In terms of some other numbers, I want to say passing defense is where they're a little bit more human, I guess, if you want to call it that. They are 4th, only giving up 181 yards through the air. So, Chase, I'm just going to be honest with you, man. They've got some dudes. I watched, since this early, I haven't gone and watched a whole bunch of the all 22 tape on them. I've only got into like maybe one game so far, but I did watch them in that Ole Miss game and the Texas game. And I want to say there was one more. And I think Auburn was the other one I caught. And their front, man, golly, bro, they're just active, right? They're disruptive. They're strong, physical guys. They got good edge guys that can get after the quarterback. I mean, they do a lot of things well. I think they have solid linebacker play. I got to go back and watch some of their DBs a little bit more. I hadn't really paid a whole bunch of attention there. My eyes typically, like, man, everybody asks, like, how do you watch tape? I'm not gonna lie. I'm naturally, since I'm an edge guy, man, I always glue up front first. So I need to go back and focus a little bit more on the back end, see how that matchup is going to look against our receivers. But nonetheless, they've got a good defense for sure, and that's going to be a challenge. On the other side of the football, I do want to note, while I do think they're capable of doing enough, right? And the reason I say enough is because they're not overly impressive on the offense side of the football, if I'm being honest with you. I mean, going into the year, Mateer was looking like a Heisman favorite. They looked a lot better. He gets injured, and then things just kind of, they haven't been the same. Oklahoma, similar to us, they don't run the football great. It's kind of interesting. I mean, John Mateer, he is involved with their rushing attack, but I'll say this, their running back position, they have a new running back that they're rolling with right now, or at least it has gotten more carries as of late. I think it's a younger guy, but I had to go back. I don't remember his name, but it's not the guy they initially were using early on in the year. So I think they've been trying to find ways to get stuff going themselves. Their offensive line hasn't been great as well. I mean, they're not, it's hard to explain, man. It's like they're capable, but they're not like some huge threat by any means. But I think they probably are good enough to maybe try to be a little bit more effective than we've seen out of LSU or South Carolina, or even Missouri. I guess that's the best way to put it. Like, they're a little bit more, I guess, they have a little bit more potential than those offenses, even though they're still by no means like some explosive offense that I'm, so worried about. But there are some things that do, I wouldn't say concern me, but I will be paying attention to again, just even from like a standpoint of Mateer, right? They use him in the running game at times. We'll have to see, how we respond to that. I think we've gotten better at defending quarterback design run, but clearly earlier on in the year that had been an issue. So stuff like that is something you should probably pay attention to in this matchup. Let's hit a timeout, Chase, to stay on schedule. I need to go back. I feel bad. I think we had a call like way back when we first started the show. So I don't know if Pat's still on the lines. If he is, we'll go to him. If not, I know we still have the coordinators from yesterday we need to catch up on and some other things. But before that, we got to hit a timeout. And we'll come back right after that, right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Alabama football is back, and there's nothing more refreshing than an ice-cold Surfside to enjoy while you cheer on your Crimson Tide. Surfside is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar, and 0 bubbles. That's right, no carbonation, so it's easy to sip and enjoy. It's not a seltzer, it's Surfside. Proud partner of the Crimson Tide. Sold in stadium and at bars, restaurants, and stores near.
All right, let's catch back up. Stay warm. Shout out to all the veterans, past, present, future, Roll Tide. Absolutely. Thank you for the reminder. I did it while we were on a commercial break here on the stream, but I need to do it when we come back via radio. Shout out to the veterans on Veterans Day. Let's go back and see the comments we might have missed. I feel like we whiffed on guys in recruiting. I agree 100% with you on that, Jake. Maybe the guys saving recruited don't fit the scheme. Grubb and Katie want to run. That was kind of part of my hypothesis, so to speak, just kind of having some of these guys. I mean, because I remember when we first hired DeBoer, I went back and watched a lot of Washington. And, again, their scheme for how they ran the ball, man, required a lot of movement with the guys up front, right? I mean, they had more athletic built linemen. You get what I'm saying? Like, they didn't have as many like the big body guys like that we had. Like, remember a few years ago, everybody was bragging about how we had like the biggest on average offensive line in the country. But I remember we were like almost dead last and sacks allowed, and our running game was average at best. And I just was like, I don't know why we're bragging about this stat anymore. It wasn't us, more like ESPN. Like, they were just like, they were glazing this stuff. Oh, Alabama's line, the biggest line. I'm like, man, but what good does that do if we can't block anybody? Brent knows how to coach defense, dealing sciences. Bull as far straight up. Well, again, Keith, I mean, within the game, I mean, looking for signs, that's everybody does that, bro. Can't get more simple than I formation. I said this, and I think I heard on that dude's video that y'all are referencing, the film guy, about the whole Daniel Hill thing. My philosophy is, instead of trying to get cute, if we're just trying to just, get tough yards, just try to just grind them out, take Daniel Hill, who's 245 pounds, and I literally said this on the show yesterday, and just get him downhill. And the reason that comes to mind for me is because I played with Derrick Henry, and while Derrick, he ran between the tackles, had good vision. I mean, I'm not saying he was a one-dimensional back like that. However, with Derrick being such a big back, even when Derrick would hit a clogged hole, I mean, he would naturally fall forward for 2-3 more yards. I mean, the dude is like a big dude, right? So I'm just saying, if we're trying to churn out yards, man, because that was one thing, going back and watching some of this tape, I will say, I know I'm getting on the offensive line because they need to be better. They need to get better push. They need to be more consistent. They need to have better fundamentals. They need to climb better.
Via.com.
I will say that our backs, they sometimes they just have to trust it. They got to trust it and press that gap, man. I feel like Jam's been a little bit more patient as of recent. And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge. Tied under .9, 12:30. WTBC presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Support Experts. Doing a quick little preview again, not doing too much of a deep dive today. Tomorrow, Thursday, we'll have way more to dive into in regards to Oklahoma. But again, we kind of went over some of their base numbers. We already know they have a really good defense and offense. I would say probably about an average offense right now. I guess we didn't throw you the numbers offensively. We'll do that real quick while we got it pulled up before I forget. In terms of, and why did that just disappear? Passing offense, not looking too hot for Oklahoma. They're 11th in the conference, only averaging 236 yards through the air. And their rushing attack, I don't expect to be much better. I know it's 11 as well. I was about to say they hadn't really ran the ball great either. Mateer, I don't know where he ranks in terms of their total rushes, but I know he's rushed for about 300 yards himself. So they do include him in the running game. That's something to pay attention to in this matchup, right? He's kind of one of those sneaky athletes, not some burner by any means, but when they do get him in the running game, I mean, it's just an extra element, to the run game that you have to defend, right? So that will be something to look out for. I mentioned the back that they're using now. I don't think it's the one that they were initially using earlier in the year. Again, I'm just going off of numbers in my head. I don't remember the names right now, but I do want to say one of their receivers, I believe, may be one of the top receivers. Yeah, is it Sategna? He's a good player for Oklahoma. He is 5th in the conference in receiving yards. That's going to be their go-to guy through the air. But again, are they explosive? Are they elite offensively? No, right? They've kind of dipped since the injury to Mateer, but I do feel like they're capable enough to at least give them a chance, right? If you go back and look at some of these games that they've played, right? They go on the road, they beat Tennessee, right? 33-27, and we played Tennessee. We know, I mean, Tennessee's a good squad. Tennessee was able to put up 27 on that defense. That is a very good defense. You go back and look at it, I mean, the last 2 games they played, you're starting to see some vulnerabilities, right, for their defense. And I'm switching back and forth, but I'm talking about Oklahoma's defense. They gave up 27 to Tennessee, and then they gave up 34 to Ole Miss. So, and if you go back and look, and some of those were on some big explosive plays too. So, I'll try to pull up those games as well. I probably could do it today if we have some time, but we'll dive into that. Probably I'll wait till tomorrow. I'll wait till we have some more time tomorrow. But what I'm getting at is recently they've been a little bit more, I guess, susceptible defensively. So we'll dive into that here in a little bit. Chase, let's see. Do you mind seeing if Pat's still there? I feel bad, man. I know it's been about an hour, but I definitely want to check. Is Pat with us still?
Yes, I am.
Dang, there he is. I'm sorry, Pat, man. We had Slade jump on, and it kind of got a little.
No, man. Hey, Slade was great. Slade was great, man. I love listening to Slade. That he was. I called him kind of Mr. Reliable whenever he was playing for us, and he was kind of like a Swiss Army knife. You could ask him to do a whole lot of stuff, return punts if necessary. He'd play in the slot. He'd do all kinds of things there. Maybe play a little wildcat quarterback, I think, one time. But Slade was special, and I appreciate you having him on board. But I want to see what you think about with this defense. Y'all been talking about it kind of ad nauseum, but how do you compare it to the Georgia defense? When we played Georgia the first half, it looked as if Ty knew what Georgia was going to do before they did it. And then they got a little bit, I got to hand it to Kirby being a great defensive coach that he is. He did make some halftime adjustments and things, but it would have been nice to have had a week off before we played Oklahoma, to me, and in order to prepare for this group out of their because, like I said, Venerable's defense. Hey, the only reason that, or the major, besides being hard-headed, the major reason that Dabo's not playing for championships is Venerable not being his defensive coordinator. What do you think?
Well, in terms of, I mean, the reason we're talking about them ad nauseum is because, I mean, that's going to be the story of this game. You can mark that here. I mean,
absolutely.
If Oklahoma's defense plays how I expect them to play, I think that's what's going to keep this game close or actually give them a chance. I think offensively, that's what I was saying. I mean, the way our defense has been playing, I think we're doing a nice job right now. I mean, I'm not saying Oklahoma's not going to be able to put up points. I'm sure they will, put up some. But defensively, I think Oklahoma's going into this game knowing that's probably their hope and savior for this football game. But in terms of how they compare to Georgia, well, they're a lot better, right? I mean, Georgia's defensive front hadn't been what they had been in the past. And Oklahoma's front looks a lot more like what we used to see out of Georgia. Oklahoma can get after the quarterback. Not only do they stop the run, but they get after the quarterback. They've got 33 sacks on the year. They're averaging almost 4 sacks a game. And I already mentioned their ability to stop the run. So that's the biggest difference for me. I mean, both have, great coaches, defensive guys, right? But I just look at Oklahoma's defense, and I just feel like they're a lot more sound than Georgia was this year. But you're right, Ty handled that game well. He handled, Missouri pretty decent against a very good defense as well. South Carolina, we saw those struggles, but pre-snap, man, Ty is as good as anybody. He does a phenomenal job getting us in the right looks and doing everything he can pre-snap to give us a chance to have success post-snap. He just got to get some help from the guys around him. I mean, I truly believe, he just has a lot of pressure on him right now because we don't have a running game, right? We're having to fully rely on trying to get the ball, push the football downfield, or these end arounds, jet sweep, screen game, stuff like that. When if we had a true traditional running game, it takes so much pressure off of him and opens things up more. So if we can do that, which this game is not going to be easy to do, I think it only makes his job easier.
I know it's not our thing, but with a 2-back set, not protect Ty a whole lot more and keep him upright, because we have prolific receivers. I don't care how good their defensive backfield is. We got prolific receivers that should be able to get over, and especially that 6'4" number one.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would say this. I mean, the 2-back sets, if you're talking about in pass pro, believe it or not, the pass pro has actually been pretty good for Alabama. That's actually one of the things that, ironically, Alabama's doing a little bit better of, especially as of recent. We're keeping Ty clean. I want to say out of 37 dropbacks or whatever it was, I think he had a clean pocket on almost 30 of them, I think was a number somebody had tweeted. And that's including all the pressure that we face. So I think, 6-man protections, whether that's a single back in there, keeping tight end, even going 7-man protection with 1 back, 1 tight end, those things definitely help. But I mean, you're smart, numbers. The more guys you keep in for protection, you have less guys, going out for passes. And I think that was one thing. If you look at it, LSU, you have good cover guys that can play man. When they bring more guys and you're forced to go to a 7-man protection, you have less guys running routes. And if they have guys that are good enough to strap you up for just a few seconds, it makes it tough, even when they do have less numbers in coverage, right? So it all comes down to a numbers game and just trying to figure out what your guys do well. What you're expecting that week, And I think it's going to be an interesting challenge for Ryan Grubb because, I mean, I know like somebody in the chat said, it sounds like a broken record. Everybody's saying Alabama has to get the running game going, but I mean, it's true. It's a fact. I mean, I'm not saying like you can't. We've seen Alabama has found ways to overcome the insufficiency there. I'm not saying it's impossible, but what I'm saying is you're seeing, and the reason the same guy asked the question is, why did we take a step? It seems like we took a step back. Well, because you're starting to see that when you are one dimensional, just like I said at the beginning of the year, teams start to figure things out and teams can really load up and bring the house. Just like if you can't throw the football, what do teams do? They stack the box. And then it makes running the ball even harder, which that's what you're supposed to do well. It works the opposite even in our situation, right? If they're not so worried about us running the football, they're able to put in these packages. They're able to bring different pressures. They're able to force the issue and make it even tougher to throw the ball. And that's why your offense really starts to sputter. So yeah, it's just it's going to be interesting, but you just have to figure it out. When Ryan Grubb has found ways, Pat, using Jeremy Bernard, lining him up in the backfield, jet sweep, right? You know, misdirection stuff. But I wouldn't be shocked if we see that again this week, just because I mean, this week is not the week to just go, oh man, I think our running game is going to magically just kick off. Their front, their defense, they're not really going for that.
Yeah, I just believe that if Daniel Hill could touch the ball 10 to 15 times, but they would get tired of hitting his big old butt.
Mm-hmm. No, and that's what I was saying too, Pat. I agree that, you know, think back to 2015 when Derrick Henry won the Heisman. Lane used to give Derrick the ball like 30 times a game, right? Which is insane to think about.
And in the fourth quarter, he got stronger and stronger.
He got stronger and stronger, and the defense got weaker and weaker and had more fatigue. And not only that, Daniel Hill's not as tall as Derrick. He definitely is as heavy, but Derrick was 6'3", 245. Daniel Hill's like 6'1", 245. But look, if I'm Ryan Grubb and I'm trying to like say, all right, let's see what we can. I would probably just put Daniel Hill in there. We saw glimpses of this against LSU. Run him downhill, whether it's duo, inside zone, whatever. Let him just hit a crease, press the hole, and he'll probably fall forward for 2-3 yards at least. And like you said, you're also wearing down a defense, man. Those safeties that are having to come down in the box and offer run support, they don't want to hit a 245-pound running back over and over. They got to make a decision at some point. I mean, they're going to be trying to chop them down, but best believe that does not feel great for those guys.
Yeah. All righty. Hey, you have a blessed day. Appreciate you taking my call. Have a great one.
Always. Sorry for the long wait, Pat. I appreciate you being patient, man. Good deal. All right, let's do this, Chase. Let's hit a timeout real quick. We're on schedule. We come back. We got player interviews from today. Maybe we'll pick one guy, see if we can squeeze him in and wrap up this Talking Tuesday. If we don't have anybody else, unless somebody else wants to jump on the phone lines or has something they want to do. The last few minutes right here on this Talking Tuesday, this is the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Black Friday savings at the Home Depot. You can get up to 40% off, plus up to an extra $1,000 off.
Think the deep ball would help loosen the defense up? The thing is, man, we throw the ball a lot. I mean, you would think that would already try to loosen some stuff up, but not quite, man. I think at the end of the day, guys, I mean, you just got to accept it. You know, we're not going to be some great, rushing team, but I don't know, man. I haven't seen, y'all mentioned, I think the Teagues talked about them running the ball. Like I said, I watched a little bit of the film guys from yesterday. I can pull it up here real quick. But like I said, everything I heard him mention, which this sounds bad. I don't really know his background. I think he mentioned he played offensive line or something. I don't really know his background, but I agree with most of what he was saying. The only thing, there was a couple times, and maybe it wasn't him. Maybe I'm thinking of somewhere else. Oh, no, that's what it was. I think I was watching something there was a freeze frame on that 4th and 1, and everybody was talking about, oh, well, why did Jam, end up bouncing outside, right? And while, again, hindsight's 20/20, but if you go back and actually watch the play, not that frame, I mean, Jaden Roberts got stalemated / was like in the backfield on that 4th and 1. I mean, I know it's easy to blame the person with the ball in their hand, just like everybody blame Milrow all the time. But to me, the offensive line, like, they got to do their job. Like, if he doesn't get blown up right there, we're not even talking about Jam's not even considering bouncing it. You see what I'm saying? Like, to me, that's the second part. Like, it looks like you freeze a frame. The problem is, like, playing in a real football game, which I've done my whole life, man. Like, it's not a video game. You can't just like freeze frame or take an aerial view. Like, shit happens like in the blink of a second. And so as those backs are supposed to be pressing, sometimes too, man. Like, all right, we say, all right, tell them just to press, and you go press, run in the back of your guy, and it's just a dud that way. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes it's not always as easy as it seems, But put on the linebacks and scheme. Well, Keith, you named about everything. I don't know what else it would be. I don't know if there's any other options, bro. But you're right. It's a little bit of everything. You're 100% right. I mean, there's times it's the line. There's times it's the backs not hitting it the way they're supposed to, or being too patient, being too hesitant. There's a number of things, bro. Grubb suggested they needed to be better in communication, listening to Parker. I would like to know what he's referring to. Adjusting audibles, a line forgetting. Not necessarily forgetting assignments, right? So there's blocking schemes with everything, right? So, like, the way offense works is, like, they have a design play, right? But then they have to, like, the reason they're identifying mics is because there's certain blocking schemes. So, like, if these guys have a combo, think about this. That stuff is going to vary on what kind of front the defense is in, or who's identifying as the mic, because they got to know, all right, who's comboing, who's climbing, that's what Ryan Grubb is talking about. That's a really good question. That's what he means by communicating in those things. Like, for example, like, if you see two guys blocking the same guy, like, obviously there's an error there. There's a mental error, as we used to call it. Some people call it a critical error, mental error, missed assignment. You'll hear MAMECE. It's all the same thing. That always boils down to stuff like what you're referencing, right? So maybe a guy, like, I saw this one clip, like, we climb immediately. That could have been within the play call, maybe not. But normally, like, especially with combo blocks, man, like, one guy, right, he's establishing it. Other guy's supposed to help, boom, hit that hip, then climb to the second level. But again, there's a number of things. Like, the guy doesn't take the right steps. If you don't have the right step in the ground, you don't have a base, right? And then you'll see guys blow past you. You don't get your head across. Like, I'll be honest, from a football perspective, and welcome back into the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Sport Experts. Hey, real quick, Good Feet Kick for Cash Challenge is back again this weekend. Another home game, right? So Good Feet Kick for Cash Challenge. You guys have the opportunity to win free cash from the Good Feet Store. All you have to do is go to goodfeetkickforcash.com. You can sign up right there on the website, completely free. Your name and email, that's it. If you get selected, you get an opportunity to go kick some field goals. If you make them, you win free cash, $1,000, $2,000. If you make the whole thing, I think it's up to 30 yards. If not, you still walk away with the free prize. So do that right now if you haven't. And if you're interested in those arch supports that they do offer, designed to eliminate and alleviate all types of pain, do that right now as well. Goodfeet.com. You can do that on your computer, laptop, whatever the case may be. Or you can always visit the nearest location to you, which you can find on the website. Or if you're in Tuscaloosa, that is in Midtown Village. Walk-ins are welcome. Try before you buy. Nothing to lose. Give them a shout. That is the Good Feet Store, improving the quality of people's lives 2 feet at a time. Let's see. I don't know if we're not going to have time to hit any of these player interviews, so we'll try to push it to tomorrow. Let's see if we got some chats that we can hit real quick. Chase, do we have any app messages? I know it's very rare we get to do that, but is there any app messages by chance? Do you already have that pulled up? If not, I can look on the chat here.
Let me check real fast.
Okay. Let me see what we have here. Superfly, I know it's Veterans Day. I think maybe you're still active. Regardless, I need to say this via radio. I said it during the break for our stream, but it is Veterans Day. I want to give a big shout out and thank you to all our veterans. Growing up in Columbia, South Carolina, I grew up right outside of Fort Jackson, which if you guys are Army, I'm sure you're very familiar with that. Or if you've seen Alabama basketball. I think they've spent time at Fort Jackson in the offseason doing some cool stuff. But as everybody does or should, I have a great respect for the military and all our servicemen and women and what they do, keeping our country safe, going out there and risking so much, whether you're deployed here, whatever. It takes a team effort. I know sometimes people get caught up in that whole thing. That doesn't matter. You put on that uniform, man. You're signing up to protect this country and our nation, allowing us to do things that we love here, just like this show, sitting here and talking sports, right? So just want to say thank you to all our veterans on Veterans Day. I have a whole bunch of family, friends, right? Growing up in Columbia outside of Fort Jackson, is either you go to college or you pretty much join the military. So, I mean, I feel like probably 75% of my friends probably served or served. So I just wanted to say that before we got out of here, by the way. And again, I said it during the break, but I forgot our radio listeners didn't hear. I know we have a lot of folks that listen to the show that are veterans, have family in the services. So I definitely wanted to say that. I hope you guys have an amazing day. Hope you guys have an amazing day every day, but especially on this day. I want to honor you guys and everybody that has served, and even the ones that do serve right now. Real quick, I lost my train of thought. Superfly, thank you. I was going to read your question. I got reminded by your profile picture. Thank you, brother. I haven't wanted to admit it, but I don't know if we're going to get anything going on the ground like Vandy was almost a fluke or something. You know, and that's what's interesting, bro. Because we watched that tape. I pulled it up on here on the stream. We looked really good. And I'll pull that up another time, but I'll show you guys. I mean, the execution, I pulled it up and showed that, right? We got great initial push, right? You know, when we were climbing on those combo blocks, getting to the second level, we were doing all the little details, right? Jam, listen, if you go back and watch, there was no reason for Jam to even be patient because the holes were declaring themselves. He could hit the hole, burst through, and he was picking up, you know, he had several big explosive runs in that game. But we have not seen that really since, if we're being honest. And it's just interesting to me. And Vandy had a good front. It's not like Vandy's front was a pushover. They going into that game, they were one of the better run defenses in the conference. So I am a firm believer if you've done it once, you can do it again. Even if you've never done it before, you always have an opportunity. But more so, if you've done it once, you clearly have shown yourself and everybody you can do it. We just have to find a way to get back to that. And I don't know. We'll have to see what they come up with. But this week, it's going to be a little bit interesting, given that you got a great challenge in front of you. But we'll see if they can do that. I'm just telling you guys right now. I mean, the way our defense is playing, it's like our offensive defense is almost kind of swapped a little bit. Defense is really kind of, I'm not saying holding it together, but let's just be honest. Like, if it wasn't for defense, we could have maybe had some different results, or at least some much closer games. So we need our offense to get back to doing what they were doing prior, and I think we'll be all right. But still got some time. We got 3 regular season games left. Not necessarily saying it's time to panic over anything, but I do feel like it's definitely a very justified reason to have some concern if you are an Alabama fan, just knowing that once you get into the nitty gritty, man, there's no second chances in the postseason, right? And you just don't want this to happen, and I hope it doesn't. But that to be something to come back at some point, right? Because it hadn't bit us yet, but it seems like it's inching closer and closer. And if you don't get it cleaned up now, it definitely could be a concern coming up. All right, Chase, I don't think we had any. Did we have any by chance or no?
No, we did not.
All right, good deal. I just want to make sure, hey, people can't say we didn't try. We checked that messages. There wasn't any there, so we're clear there. That being said, we're closing out this Talking Tuesday here on the Miller's Edge. Appreciate everybody. Chase behind the glass, all our listeners via Tide 100.9, also via the streams, YouTube and Facebook. Always appreciate you guys. And also remember, at the Miller's Edge on YouTube, if you guys prefer to watch the show, you always can do that as well. Or stick with radio on the app or on the dial. We appreciate all our listeners. Also, don't forget, R&R Cigars is doing that food drive. Drop off any donations, and you are eligible for 50% off of a cigar from R&R Cigars. They're trying to feed 5,000 families. We talked about how cold it is. Well, don't forget, there's a lot of people that might be struggling right now, especially holiday season, to have foods on their plate, and that's exactly what R&R is trying to tackle. So if you have some extra stuff you can donate, especially canned goods, stuff like that, non-perishable items of that nature, drop them off to R&R Cigars. You get 50% off of one cigar. Even if you don't need that just think about those folks and those families that they're trying to feed. And if you have anything, make sure you guys check them out. 2703 Gary Fitz Street is the location. But also remember, if you need a place to go watch games, get a nice steak, best humidor in the Southeast, 160 bourbons, they are the place to be. Go check them out. Again, that is R&R Cigars, official cigar provider of Alabama football since 2014. We got to get out of here. We'll see you guys tomorrow right here, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.